Hello again to another Agakala React, and today we will be watching Investigating 13 Bizarre Islands from Geography Bible. It's another good channel. I've made a few reactions to it already, so let's just jump into it and see what kind of bizarre islands and what makes them bizarre.
Islands can be very interesting
places.
With them being disconnected
interesting.
and
It's a good word.
isolated from other landmasses, they can sometimes offer unique situations. Just look at the likes of the Galapagos Islands, Socotra Island, or the entire country of Madagascar. Some 37% of the flora and fauna on Socotra Island is endemic, 80% in the Galapagos, and an unbelievable 90% on Madagascar. But sometimes it's not the islands where there are diverse and rare animals. It's the ones where one particular type of animal has essentially taken over. Like for example, Tashirojima Island in Japan, which has a very interesting story. So in the 1940s, the island had a bit of a rodent problem. To combat this, the residents introduced a lot of cats. The cats bred like rabbits and their numbers skyrocketed. But if we skip forward to today, the human population has dropped, but the cat population has only increased, meaning cats easily outnumber humans. Cats roam freely around the island in great numbers, meaning many tourists flock to the island to witness this feline takeover. Now, an island which most certainly is not visited by humans in such numbers is Ramri Island in Myanmar, which has been taken over by a very different type of animal. The animal is certainly not as friendly or perhaps cute as our previous. So, during World War II, British forces were fighting the Japanese on the ground in Myanmar, which at the time was British Burma. The Brits won the battle and forced around 1,000 Japanese troops to retreat to Ramtree Island in the west of the country. However, little did these injured and weakened Japanese troops know that they'd be retreating into a heavily densely populated crocodile-infested mangrove region. Although numbers are unreliable and quite unknown, it's believed that the majority of the soldiers were killed and eaten by the crocs.
Really?
This event is often cited as being perhaps the single most deadliest crocodile attack in history. Alright, let's now move on to a more light-hearted island. Well, that's if you can even call it that. So this is Rockall Islet, found in the northeast Atlantic Ocean, and believe it or not, there is great controversy over the ownership of this barren rock. But why exactly? What importance does it have? Well, the uninhabited granite islet has competing territorial claims by the UK, Ireland and Denmark. Basically, whoever owns this rock has exclusive rights in the surrounding waters, extending up to 200 nautical miles. This would provide control over valuable resources such as gas, oil, and fishing rights.
Yeah, like the bird poop, that would be maybe 100 years ago about that, but not now.
The UK annexed the rock in 1955 as it was unclaimed at the time. However, this annexation isn't recognised by Ireland or Denmark, hence the territorial disputes.
I understand that Denmark, the Ireland's claim, but I don't understand how is Denmark going into that. Like, it is rather surprising for me that it's possible like that. Why is it Rockall, is it? I have the break now, so we're gonna check it now. So basically it says that, well, it's a Rockall dispute, is it? Dispute. Rockall Bank dispute. Several states have claimed interest over the seabed adjoining Rockall, an uninhabitable granite islet which is located within the exclusive economic zone. Okay. Of the United Kingdom, Ireland, Denmark, Iceland. I get the Iceland here. And... oh, Faroe Islands. Keep forgetting about them. There you go. Explanation. Let's see. So we've got, here you go, actually not, here you go, and Faroe Island, but I keep forgetting the Faroe Islands here that actually belong to Denmark. So okay, I get now, so basically it's the 200 miles around, is it? Is it bigger? Yeah, so there's an Iceland here, although this doesn't really seem like it's going out that far. The Ireland, the British, I guess it's kind of complicated with looking on stuff like that. Look at this, because Ireland, the Republic of Ireland, it's here, and this is Northern Ireland as a part of United Kingdom. So obviously from this kind of goes like that. It's Yeah, and it goes here, and there's a front here, isn't it? So, why is there a dispute? Like, interesting. Well, obviously that's not going to be disputed anytime soon in a way that everyone would like to. So, it is interesting though. Stuff like that, it's always gonna, like, luckily enough now they're not going to go to war for it. So I don't think there's that much of natural resources there. But it is kind of complicated with all that, like, how the borders lay. It's not straight line like you've seen it there, and it was just over Ireland just goes like yoom. So it's like kind of losing. I wonder, are they getting some over there in between? What about the Irish Sea in between UK and Ireland? Actually didn't pay attention to it, but the ads are gone, so we can actually keep watching again. And here we are, and let's just go. Maybe there'll be some more explanation.
This is Henderson Island, one of the most remote
Is
places on Earth. It is uninhabited and
Trees
belongs
or-
to the Pitcairn Island Group, an overseas territory of the UK. At first glance, it looks like a pretty nice tropical island with
kinda
white
does, yeah.
sand and palm trees.
The
right?
trees, huh? That's all
However,
forest.
if you
Whoa.
add the word trash to the end of your Google search, it reveals the real reason why I've mentioned it in today's video. Due to the isolated geographical position that the island finds itself in, it accumulates a lot of trash that's been transported.
So that's British
across the
territory in
planet by the currents
Pacific
of the
Ocean, huh?
oceans. Add this to the fact that the island is uninhabited and extremely hard to access, it means that no one is there to clean up the mess. Unfortunately, resulting in the beaches of the island being swarmed with all
Someone
kinds
is
of
getting there in
plastic from
some
around the
every now and
world.
then, huh?
Our next island, thankfully, is inhabited and doesn't have the same trash problem. However, they do have a very different problem, a problem that could potentially destroy the island and the people living there. So this is Aogashima Island in Japan. Similar to our previous island, it is very remote. It is found some 350 kilometers directly south of Tokyo within the Philippine Sea. But what makes the island so special is that it is volcanic, and within the volcanic caldera is where the island's 170 or so population lives. The last eruption took place in 1785, and ever since the volcano has lay relatively dormant, although still officially classed as active. Now, there are plans in place if the volcano does erupt, which mainly consists of transporting its entire population across the nearby islands via boat and helicopters. As the island is made up out of volcanic soil and found in a tropical region, it is covered with lush green vegetation, subtropical plants, and has steep cliffs with incredible ocean views. The only thing that keeps this place off most people's radars is the extreme remoteness of it, meaning tourists very rarely visit. Next up, we have the Isle of Sark, an island found within the Channel Islands just off the coast of France, in between Jersey and Guernsey. Although being relatively close to France, the island belongs to the UK, although it is self-governing. Now, the island is rather tranquil and picturesque. It's very green and hilly.
I wonder if it's small enough to just kind of like walk the length of it through one day.
Very nice place to be. But why is the island made today's video? As nice as it looks, there's nothing eye-catchingly stand out about it, right? Well, there's one thing in particular that makes the island quite unique. Cars are outlawed on the island. The population of 500 or so primarily move around the island by either walking or cycling. There is also horse and carriage
Island,
too.
why not?
The ban has been in place since 1905 and was implemented to preserve its natural beauty, maintain its historical character, and minimize environmental impacts.
Can you imagine the ban, like to put on the cars in the beginning of the existence of cars? That's kind of like a foreshadowing. Is that the word? It's strange to hear. Like, I would understand it would be like, let's say maybe later on in the thing, but it's very interesting that they decided to do it already back then. Unless there's a little mistake, but still.
Now, with the island being small, narrow, and quite hilly, roads, cars, and traffic wouldn't be suitable on such an island, meaning the ban makes complete sense. Travelling across the world over to the Tasman Sea, we arrive at our next island, Ball's Pyramid. So Ball's Pyramid is found off the east coast of Australia and is home to the tallest volcanic stack on Earth, which measures some 572 meters high, giving this incredible looking view. The island was discovered in 1788, but it wasn't for almost 100 years later that any human would step foot onto it, primarily due to its remoteness and the roughness of the seas that surround it. The island itself is quite barren and almost void of plant life due to the extreme steepness and harsh environment. Speaking of barren, next up is an island with that exact name, Barren Island, found in the Indian Ocean. Now, other than being a rather spectacular looking place, what makes the island so special? Well, it's believed to be the only active volcano on the Indian subcontinent. The island is found within the Andaman Sea, a couple of 100 kilometers west of Myanmar. Being found within the Andaman Islands, the region belongs to India. So the volcano has erupted 4 times since 1991, with its most recent
1991, that's only 30 years.
This is believed to have been triggered by the 2004 Sumatra Boxing Day earthquake. Of course, no one lives on the island, nor is anyone permitted to visit. The island is only home to a few species of animals such as goats and some rodents. The waters surrounding the island, however, are teeming with life due to the constant geothermal activity. Now, whilst we're in the Andaman Islands, it'd be rude to not speak about one of the most notorious islands on Earth. It's well documented, so I'll only briefly mention it. So, North Sentinel Island is a rather internet-famous island found just west of the main Andaman Islands chain, and is famously home to an unknown amount of somewhat unconnected people.
I believe I made a reaction to it, about to video about that island.
The tribe who lives on the island are completely cut off from the rest of the world, and quite notoriously and understandably are very hostile to anyone who tries to visit their island. Travelling pretty much to the opposite side of the world, we arrive in this kind of banana-shaped looking island in Canada called Sable Island. When you think of islands and Canada, you most likely imagine barren, freezing cold, lifeless landscapes like what you'd see on Devon Island, the world's largest uninhabited island. Sable Island, however, doesn't really fit that description, as it's an island that's relatively green and has pristine white sand beaches. The unique part about the island is that there are 500 free-roaming horses that have essentially taken over. The official population of the island is 0, however at least 6 people do live there year-round, primarily meteorologists. This number can rise to as high as 50 during the summer months when scientific groups visit. The island sits around 300 kilometers east of Halifax, Nova Scotia.
I was just wondering where it is in relation to Canada.
Winter gets pretty chilly on the island, which attracts many thousands of seals to seek refuge on, giving us these incredible shots of them living in harmony with the feral horses.
I don't think feral it's a good word for it. It's just, is it feral a good word for it? I thought feral means like if someone is like wild with rabies or something like that. Okay, it's supposed to be a thing. Let's see what feral means exactly. Wait, how much time do I have in here? Feral, especially of an animal in a wild state, especially after escape from captivity or domestication. Okay, a feral cat. Why didn't I realize that? I always thought that was more about actually being in the wild, but just like feral as in wild and crazy because let's say something happened to it. Didn't realize that it's from like already being domesticated and escaped. Huh. That's you see, I'm learning something new. A feral animal or plant is one that lives in the 1 second there because that's finished. Feral animal or plant is one that lives in the wild but is a descendant from our domesticated individuals. There you go. It's cool to know. Okay, let's go back because we've got the ad real quick.
An island which is certainly colder than Sable is Spitsbergen, an island part of the Svalbard archipelago in the Arctic Ocean.
I can't pronounce it
the
now.
Climate of this island is categorized as Arctic, with cold temperatures and
there's a vault there,
isn't
there? A seed vault.
In the winter, temperatures can drop to as low as minus 40 degrees Celsius.
That's cold.
Now, what makes the island
People
so
living
special
there now,
is that it is one of the northernmost inhabited places on Earth. It's found so far north that in summer it sees a midnight sun, meaning there is 24 hours of daylight for months on end. The wildlife of the island is also quite spectacular, seeing reindeer, polar bears and elephant seals. However, there is one man-made structure that exceeds everything mentioned so far in terms of importance and uniqueness. It is the home to the Svalbard Seed Vault. The vault is essentially a secure storage facility built to hold a vast collection of seeds from around the world. This is basically to protect biodiversity and preserve plant species in case of a global disaster. But why was this island in particular chosen for the vault to be built on? Well, it's because it could be built deep within an Arctic mountain, giving natural refrigeration through permafrost. Its remote northern location also protects it from other risks such as political instability, war, and natural disasters. And finally, we have Eel Malk Island, on an island found in the country of Palau. Now, the island is truly spectacular, especially when viewed from above. The hundreds of rock formations covered in greenery gives us these incredible views. But that's not why the island has made today's video. It is in fact due to the lake that exists within the island. The lake is known as Jellyfish Lake. So due to isolation, the jellyfish that inhabit the lake have over time lost their ability to sting, meaning it is completely...
I have to say that I haven't seen jellyfish in the wild till... No, I've seen it maybe once or twice, like one individual one or two individual ones in the sea. Once in Baltic Sea when we were over the sea there, and I think once in Tenerife when I was there. And that was the only 2 times when I'd seen them in the wildlife. But this year we were collecting my mom from airport, and we decided to, because she was flying in early, so we had rented a car and we went on a little trip around Cork, where my mother was landing. So we actually went to this one really nice island, and there was a massive amount of like dead jellyfish there, and we were quite like maybe not impressed, but just like really surprised with it, if you know what I mean. I'm just gonna put like maybe I think I made some videos in car and pictures, so I'm just gonna put them in here while I'm talking. Hopefully I didn't remember of it, so okay, I just keep going because I was
safe to jump
just a little
water and swim amongst them.
Information about
With
myself.
Predators, the jellyfish's numbers have skyrocketed.
They're big ones though,
meaning they absolutely dominate the lake.
Are they
so
stinging
there we
too?
have it, some interesting and sometimes quite bizarre islands from around the world. If you can think of any others, please do tell us about them in the comments below. If you enjoy this sort of content, make sure to subscribe and like. And as always, thank you very much for watching.
As always, very good video again. I'm kind of losing my voice. Excuse me. I'm sorry for that. Yeah, so that was really good. Another few islands that I never heard about. Maybe 2 or 3 that I did. I heard the one in Japan with the cats. I heard about the one about the wild tribe that never had contact with civilization. I heard about a few of them. Anyway, did you hear about all of them, or a few of them at least? What do you think about those islands? Were they rightfully on this 13 bizarre island list? I think they were. Thank you very much for watching, and I see you tomorrow. Bye!